Is this EA in set crop? Only saw it briefly, but it looked like it was 2.35. Yes, but you can include, even if it's not there. Let me show you here. Even if it's not there, you can, well, you have it here, in fact, the 2.39. But if for the cropping, you don't have the option here, you can put any value here, apply custom, and it will be applied. So we have like 4 presets and a custom value for any clip. Another question from Anthony Pratt. Have there been any changes to conform tools to matches against CDLs on conform? There have been many changes from the export part for the EDL part. I'm not quite sure right now on the conform. As far as I know, no, there haven't been any improvements in that area. But I'm talking from memory, because the problem is, well, the version that I showed you today it has the most important features of Mystica 10. But keep in mind that this version has been developed, well, in fact, during the last 2 years, but in a more strong way during the last few months. And during those months, we have fixed quite a lot of issues, some of them related with conforming. And those fixed are in this version. I'm not talking about them because they are not new features, but if it's a problem or an issue with the conforming part, it can be fixed. I mean, it can be in this version, but it's just that I'm not enough memory to know how many bugs have been fixed in this version. There are quite a lot of them, but I'm not quite sure. If it's not an issue and it's a new feature, Tony, just let us know, because again, this is the same thing. We need your feedback to understand what do you need to have a list of functionalities and to implement them. Okay. Quick questions of the new shape function. Will it be possible to have custom or preset shapes in addition to the standard rectangle, oval, etc., like say basic face template? Well, that's a good idea. I haven't think about that. Maybe, because at the end, what we are doing is just define some presets, some form by default, and that's it. If you can save some of the some shapes for future use, maybe you can use it. In fact, Mystica already has an option, if I remember correctly. Oh, it's in the vector paint. Yeah, the vector paint, there is an option to save shapes, to save vectors as a preset. Well, maybe we can add that functionality. It's the first time that I heard about it. But yeah, well, maybe in the future we can add that functionality. Another questions: with the new metadata parameters on the input, does that work on a stereoscopic material in timeline? Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it works in all clips. So you have that option as well. I don't know if you want to see a specific parameter there for a stereoscopic, but the metadata is the same for all clips, independently if it's for a stereo, mono, or VR, or whatever. It will be the same metadata. If you, again, as I said at the beginning, if any of you miss any kind of metadata embedded on those parameters, just let us know with your feedback. We will study that option, because include new parameters and new effects is a really simple thing. So all we need to know is which metadata you want to see in there for make your workflow easier. In VR Stitch, the menu on the left bottom corner can be quite extensive if you have many cameras. Could it be nice if we can expand that panel for easy navigation? Yes, that's the problem of that panel is that it's an old interface. Okay, you may see, for example, here in the color grade, if you open now the panels, you won't have the parameters here, then parameters, because now this is a limitation. Okay, before you play with the version, I will let you know. These parameters, the number parameters, are not there. You can navigate through the whole tree, but you cannot open the numerical parameters with the color grade interface open. The moment that you open like an old interface, like the shapes or the set color, whatever, the parameters appear. The reason why we are doing this is because of a current limitation of the old interface. Again, if you compare the new interface with the old one, it's pretty obvious that the old one is, well, old and it has limitations. And one of the limitations was this one. We need to retain this panel, and this design and this panel will be redesigned in the future for sure. And yeah, I mean, one of the options will be the possibility of expand this panel to make it cleaner and easier to read, especially for the stitch, because we will do it for all the effects, but it's pretty obvious with VR, because people that come from Mistika VR, which has a full new interface, when they use Mistika Boutique, it's at the first step is like, whoa, this is much more complicated. It's not more complicated. In fact, they are the same parameters at the same buttons, but organized in a less cleaner way. So we need to redesign that panel to make it look cleaner and easier to control. Don't worry about it. We will do it. How would I bring in, say, 6 different Mistika stitching projects and combine it on a timeline to sync, like multicam to then match? Great. Well, you can combine any amount of projects in time and space. When you load, let me do it. I have this timeline. I can load this timeline again, and I can go to my media project, select my environment. I prefer to use the detail mode. I can use my environment. This is the internal Mistika Boutique environment, but it can be as well the VR environment if you have a project. And just if you drag and drop over the time space, you will open this project. But what you maybe want is to combine some of them. So what you can do is to go to the export, source monitor, load. This will load the environment here, and you can just click in any of those options. And basically what it does is to create a group with all the contents of your project. You can ungroup this, and there you go. Now you have your project open here. If you have like multiple projects for VR, you can follow that same logic and just open any amount of projects here and combine any amount of projects. If that project use audio as a reference, you have the option for align clip, and you can align clip by audio or by timecode to try to match those projects between them. And with the match and paste option, you can just move the color or any setting from one project to another in a really quick and easy way. The match and paste is a really nice functionality to make this kind of works. So yeah, without any issues, you can do it without any problems. Does the new embedded framing now scale embedded matters within shots, for example, in multi-layer EXR files? That's a good question. I haven't tried it. We need to try it. See, this is where maybe some issues can appear. Maybe we need to try that. I haven't tried it, to be honest. The multi-layer, I haven't used the multi-layer EXR with the new framing, no embedded. I will test it, and I will come back to you for answering that question, because right now I'm not quite sure if the framing will work, especially because at this point I don't know if the framing here is working in parallel with other effects. So for example, if you change the framing but then you use a layer route, I don't know how it will work, but I will test it for sure. That's a really good question. I didn't realize. Is Mistika 10 being released and when on Linux? And is the color tab compatible with CP200? Okay, that's a really nice question. When is Mistika 10 released?